Let's look for affinity. There we go. And then I'll click activate that. So we're ready. And here is the site. But when I scroll down, I'm limited. It hasn't got the 5 panels that we saw earlier on. It's just got the header. Don't worry. You need to add in specific pages to get those panels, and I'll come on to that in a minute. What we should do is start to customize the page. So this is where we go back to personalize and click on themes. So here we go. It's throwing up a different image. We essentially go through each of these elements, and these will be the same for the majority of themes within WordPress. The only difference you'll find is specific theme options, and in this case for Affinity there is one which has the panels, and that you would pick up from the pages, but we'll come back to that in a second. Let's just go through this step by step. I'll go back to the beginning. We want to start with site identity. So that's asking you to give your site a name. So we had the City of London. So you could have a tagline if you want. I'm just going to call this a view of the City of London, and then you can see that tagline has now appeared in the middle of my image, and nothing else has changed. I've actually also got a logo, and I've done this to demonstrate. I've created a logo which I want to appear in the middle of the screen, and in this case the logo will only appear in the middle of the screen. You can't move it anywhere. Certain other WordPress platforms you can. So let's find the logo. So I'll look for my logo, and it is this here. So these are the images that are standard within the file. That's the first one that I've added. You'll notice that the size of the logo I've had is 150 by 161 pixels, and that's about the right size to have in place. It comes out with some details here. The alt text will help with search engine optimization. So I'm actually going to call this London logo, and then select. It will give you the option to crop it, so if it's a little bit too big you can make it smaller, but I'm just going to have the whole of the image that I want in there, and click crop the image, and it appears in the center of my picture. Now they're also asking you if you want to put a site icon. A site icon, also known as a favicon, is this thing at the top here. So where you can see the WordPress title at the top, you can put an icon in up there. So I'm going to use the same image that I created for my logo. It does say it needs to be at least 512 pixels wide, but for me I found that the same one, it's 150, so still works. So I'm going to select that, and that's the icon up here. We'll see that turn at the top here later on once we've saved and published. So the next option is you can change the color palette. So you can see here where the text is, it's white. So I could change the palettes if I wanted to by clicking on various options, and you can see the the colors changing. Or I could actually go into a manual and select a specific color myself. That's where we are related to the palette that we're associated with. So if I go back to manual, let's say the cream, I think the cream might be quite nice. We'll leave it at that. Fonts, you can go in and change the font for the heading fonts and the default fonts. So these are all the fonts that are available. I'm just going to leave it as it is for now for simplicity's sakes. Header image. Okay, this is the header image that's currently available, and there are some standard items available here, and that's this one, which we don't want. I actually want to add my own image, so I'm going to click on the add new image and upload the image in question. And it is the Houses of Parliament that I want to use, or my London 2 JPEG. So I click on open. Now you can see the details there. I'm going to call that. I'll just go and make life a little bit easier. The Houses of Parliament. Select and crop. So you can adjust the image accordingly, and I think, yep, I'm happy with that. And there you go. That's my image in place. So my header image is where I want it to be. Menus. Okay, so these are the menus up here, but really we need to change the pages. So just put that on hold for a few moments, and I'll come back to that in a second. The same with the social menus. You can add the links here, or get rid of them if you want. So as an example, I'm just going to remove the LinkedIn, save and publish. Content options, what will appear particularly within your blog posts. I prefer the excerpt rather than the full post to appear, so I always click on that. Widgets. Okay, so in my design, I forgot to mention earlier on that within the main Parallax page, it's full width. Within the pages for the about, contact, and the news, I will have it with a sidebar. And you might be saying to yourself, what do you mean? I'll come on to that in a second. So I'll just go back to the widgets. That's for the sidebar. There's no widgets at the moment, so I'm going to add a widget, and I'm just going to put in, for simplicity's sake, so you can see what it is a bit later, the calendar. Call that calendar as well. Okay, I'll go back, and now the footer widget. So if I go back to remind us, in the footer we wanted pages, we wanted search and calendar, text, and contact map. So first of all, for widget number 1 at the bottom, so we look at down here. Going to add in pages.